What's that show on, what was it, PBS Sunday mornings, like the 400 Club or something?
What?
The 700 Club?
The 700 Club is
Club.
not on PBS.
Not
It's
PBS.
on it's on that religious
God channel?
It's that religious company. Their offices are down in Orange County. What is it? Trinity Broadcasting Networks.
Well, my parents always told me it was PBS.
Well, the one on the one on PBS is it's like the McClatchy Club or whatever. But the guy's dead. He died like
McLaughlin
6
group?
months ago.
All right, well,
Why has no religion?
The blank group, the McCormick group. What is it fucking called?
I don't know, but if religious shows want young viewers, they should have one called God Mode.
Yeah.
And they will flock.
Oh, yeah.
They would flock to that.
Hey, now with all this like ad stuff happening, we should start a
Religious channel.
religious channel called God Mode.
we should start a cult.
Yeah.
I think it'd
And
be
that
good.
was it. Less than 2 minutes, we got to cults.
Okay, if you want to join our cult, just hit the subscribe, smash that motherfucking like button.
Well, according to that one booth that I see at every convention, Jesus was a gamer.
He was a gamer, and they give you free beer.
They don't do it anymore. They had to stop doing that.
Why? Because it's like, if it's not the blood of Christ, what is it of? It's like the Christ's bowel
The
movements.
sweat of Christ.
Yeah, the sweat's fine. That's a little less gross than mine.
I mean, you're drinking blood already. What's the little sweat?
Yeah, well, usually have a cracker to go with it. They don't hand out crackers.
Yeah, well.
So we're just doing a little Q&A podcast this week.
All right.
What's that stand for?
It's questions and answers. We don't have a real guest.
No,
No.
you're stuck. Well, you're stuck with guest. I'm guest.
Yeah, we're just gonna put that.
Please welcome
Hello.
guest.
Hey, everybody.
I'm gonna
It's
get more
guest.
and more. Don't worry, I'm gonna get more and more excited as I go on today because I didn't get coffee on the way in, but I have a cold brew here. So by
Coffee
the
in
end
a
of it, I'll be
can.
Look at you.
Oh,
Ooh. Is it
damn.
carbonated? Why is it
It's,
spewing?
it's the nitro.
You almost
Nitro.
blew your finger off like a firework accident.
Yeah, I can't get down with cold coffee. I need it hot.
Yeah, it's weird. It weirds me out that you don't like that.
It's cold. Why? Ugh. Ugh.
Let's start with, do you think that YouTube, this is from Evil Bernard, do you think YouTube got too big too fast? And did that attribute to the problems that are happening so often?
They had plenty of time.
Yeah, it's been years.
They just didn't have any fire under their ass, no motivation to actually fix anything as it was getting big.
And you always bring up a good point that Google has consistently, throughout its existence, once it started becoming a real company and not just a search engine, has spread itself incredibly thin on the projects that
It's a huge company.
it cares about. Like
Yeah.
YouTube, it's like, cool, okay, that's big. Let's go focus on Google Wave now, or something like that. It's hard. It seemed for a while that it was hard for them to really focus on a project. I mean, last year was the first year they actually made their own phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of their projects have been fairly self-sustaining, and have improved in increments that were necessary. Like with something like Android, you have to keep improving every 6 months, but it doesn't have to be huge improvements.
Well, that's because there's competition, and
right,
with YouTube,
exactly.
there was no competition. The other competition was at the time. I mean,
Daily
Vimeo,
Motion.
Vimeo has been around.
like,
but
yeah,
Meta
like
Cafe.
weird-
Yeah, is that
Yeah.
still around?
I-
I think it's just porn now.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is there is no competition. Luckily, I think we're seeing now the emergence of Twitch, not just as a live streaming platform, but also the potential platform to take over a bit of the steam from YouTube, because they did something that YouTube had no plans to do really, in a way that really required it. Meaning, that I don't think that YouTube had a big focus on live streaming gameplay.
Well, they did try to buy Twitch right before the Amazon acquisition.
Yeah.
So they were definitely looking into it. And then when that fell through and Amazon got Twitch, YouTube launched YouTube Live shortly thereafter.
YouTube
completely botched it. And then a year later relaunched YouTube Live with YouTube Gaming. And it's still just like, well, it's a thing, but it's not as good as the other thing. So why would I do it here?
Yeah, the options are way different there.
Yeah.
And also, the very, very simple fact that it is never updated really bugs me now that we're on it for party time. I'll enter legitimate names of games that are now out or have come out in the past 2 years, and they are just not part of the system.
Yeah, they seem a little spread thin. And yeah, a lot of it goes down to motivation. I think right now they're basically across the YouTube product. They're trying to do 5 years worth of work in a month.
Yeah.
Which is never a good way to, try to do anything.
I see it kind of as a lack of focus because Google strikes me as one of those like 2.0 companies where you take, everybody has ideas and everybody submits ideas and you have your Google Waves and all your stuff. But to draw kind of a parallel with what they're doing with messaging on the other side, like a lot of, when it comes to the phones, a lot of people, their hesitation to switch over to Android is iMessage, which is one of the killer apps for if you're in the Apple ecosystem. And they don't really have an answer for that. First it was Hangouts, then it was Message, and now Allo, and there's all these things coming out. And like every 6 months, I have to learn like I have to learn the new thing. And it's kind of on the other side. You see the same thing where there's every year or so there's a big sea change with what they're trying to do, whether it's competing with Twitch or going into live TV and competing with over-the-top services. But you see these little things where they're like a squirrel on the road and they don't know which way they're going when the algorithm's changing, or they're flagging LGBT content. And it's like, what are you guys doing? It's not like they're a boat moving. It's like a car where there's
they're
someone
constantly
switching the wheel.
reactionary instead of kind of innovating. And when they do innovate, they do it in a really, really weird way, in the sense like you just brought up with the messaging, where it doesn't make sense that they're just developing 4 fucking apps.
Right.
And the problem that, to bring it back to the fact that they just developed their actual phone, the Pixel, every year before that it was made by like HTC or whoever, and that problem created another problem because you have Apple, which has the iPhone and iMessage. It's that. Then you have Android, which Samsung will take, and they'll make Samsung Messenger on it. There's no like rock solid medium thing that uses across all Android devices. Like finally, their text messaging is actually pretty great now on the stock Android on the Pixel. But you're not going to get that same experience on an LG. You're not going to get that same experience on a Samsung. You're not going to get that same experience on an HTC. I think it's great that they've moved to making their own phone every year now, because it will compete against the iPhone. But then you have Samsung, who's making like the S8 or is the S8 now?
Yeah, the 8's getting good reviews.
It looks
great. The
S8,
side note, has a button on it that is literally useless right now.
Bixby.
The Bixby button, they decided that Google Now sucks, so we're going to make our own Google Now called Bixby. And this was the phone where they introduced that feature, except Bixby's not quite ready for public use yet.
Yeah.
We didn't get our deadlines lined up right, so it's coming. For now, there's a button dedicated to Bixby on the new S8 that literally does nothing.
A physical button?
Physical button that stock you can't remap.
No, you can download.
You can.
A bunch of apps have come out, Bixby remappers that basically just turn it into the Google Now button and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is I hope that they continue to innovate with the Pixel and kind of steal that market share from Samsung, because
once they have like 3 generations, it's just like with Apple. Once they had like 3 solid back-to-back generations, and then they could start selling the older ones as like the budget models with. Once Google has enough ground, I think they'll be able to capture a decent amount of market share. I see ads for that goddamn Pixel phone all the time.
It's a great phone.
It's a great phone. I've dropped mine dozens of times. It's all fucking cracked, but still works great.
Yours is cracked already?
Just on that glass panel on the back.
Oh man,
not the screen,
sucks.
thank God.
Okay, well that's good.
I think it's not too fast, too quick with YouTube. I think it's just a lack of clear direction and then weathering the storm, because they keep having these PR things like
they're an everything company.
Content. Yeah, and it's just like if you do everything, like that's a lot to manage. Like,
no, it's I mean, the perfect example is just this year alone. Not even speaking of the advertiser problems, you have them competing against themselves with YouTube Red costing $10 a month, and it's a great service. I love YouTube Red, but then they come out with YouTube TV, and I'll tell you right now, I downloaded the trial, and it looked fine, and it worked okay, but there's nothing there that is going to pull me away from the service I already used, even if that's Sling, which is okay now, or I use PlayStation View, which even if I didn't have a PlayStation, I'd probably still have it, because you can use it on the Chromecast and on
it's cross-platform, and their interface is fine.
Yeah, it works great. And I think their selection is the best, aside from not having the Viacom channels. Like I do miss.
That's the only bummer with.
Yeah,
that's why I don't have View right now.
Why is Viacom so mean?
I don't know, but
they're not even on Hulu anymore.
It's really bad, because there's a new show that just came out. I think it's with Moshe Kasher.
Yeah.
And I can't legally watch it.
I haven't watched The Daily Show in 2 months because it used to be like my evening routine, like put on the TV in the bedroom, watch last night's episode of The Daily Show, and I was like, it took me like 3 weeks. I was like, wow, Trevor Noah must be on a really long break right now. And
Jon
I was
Stewart
like,
never would have done this.
they just pulled all of their shows.
Yeah, no,
They have
it's
like 8, and it's all legacy content. And I think they're getting squeezed because ESPN, whether you love sports or not, they basically were like, "Fuck you, we're not getting into this streaming game," and they just laid off on Wednesday. They just laid off a bunch, like 100 on-air talent.
Yeah.
And you can tell like they're kind of getting hammered by
because their ratings are really, really bad, and they're spending a lot of money to acquire exclusive sports content, which doesn't really require the on-air talent. But their ratings are bad, although they are the most expensive things for cable networks to purchase. ESPN, that ESPN package, and I think
Better
that's
melt
all
down
gonna,
that Academy Award.
Yeah, I think it's all gonna. I mean, their 30 for 30 stuff is incredible.
Yeah.
But I don't know, and it's weird. I think Viacom kind of pushed providers to call their bluff, and they didn't. Mm-hmm. And now I don't think they're noticing any subscriber drop from the fact that they're not carrying Viacom channels.
Well, that was the bummer. So I sat down, old Tech Tuesday at Phil. I'm like, fuck it, I'm finally gonna cut the cord. So I tried Sling. I thought the quality was lower than what I liked. YouTube wasn't out yet, and then I got into PlayStation View, and I was like, hey, this is everything I want for $75 a month. And you get Showtime, HBO.
You can get it, by the way, you can get it way cheaper than that. $75 a month is literally the max.
That's the maximum package. And I was like, this will replace my cable, the only bummer. And I'm like, it's still going to be cheaper if when I want to watch Detroiters or Daily Show, just pay $2 an episode on iTunes the next day. And I'll be fine. And then I just called DirecTV. I was like, I tried to cancel, and they made it basically the same price. So I was like, all right, well, I'll stay while this promo's here.
Yeah.
But that was a small deciding factor, was not having Viacom. Because
it's weird. Yeah, and that's the thing is with YouTube TV, it's like, okay, well, you get YouTube Red with that, but you don't. No, you get a pre-programmed channel.
A linear channel
called YouTube Red.
The same way that there's a Machinima channel on PlayStation
and it's
View.
Just like
Machinima channel on PlayStation
content?
View is literally just this show called Boss Battles over and over and over and over and over again ad infinitum.
Wait, so
sometimes my sketches show up.
So you get the YouTube Red original content, and you can DVR it.
I think you can. Yeah, you can do it on demand and stuff.
They're great. They have like
Weird.
3 shows. Fantastic.
But there's ads, and you don't get the same features as YouTube Red. You don't get the offline streaming ability. For any YouTube video, you don't get no ads on any video. You don't get I don't think you get the music.
Is there an offline DVR for like your phone?
For the YouTube TV?
No, just for YouTube TV, like.
For YouTube shows or for any shows?
For like just regular TV shows.
I think so, but I don't know what the limit is on it for what you can do.
I know there is, but they you can't fast forward through commercials. They tag those.
Oh, fuck off.
They mentioned that a week or two ago that they're.
And the thing is like the channels aren't great.
It's
they only offer a minimum package. So if you don't want those channels, which is like ESPN and shit, then you're screwed. Whereas the other programs offer tier services that are fine. But yeah, it's once you have like with mine, even if I had Sling, I just it was only a 7-day trial. I just didn't like the UI. It has improved. But with PlayStation View, it's like I go in and I just press the button on all the shows that I want to watch.
And they show up
I
in a
rarely
list.
go through the guide anymore unless I get bored of watching the shows that already have DVR'd. Like Andy Tribeca, the new season just started, and it's like, oh, cool. I don't even know what day that show is on. But I know that once a week I'll have a new episode of it ready to watch.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Works great. YouTube, yeah.
But to answer the question, YouTube had plenty of time to fix their shit, and they didn't.
Let's see. If you guys were to end up leaving YouTube because of the advertiser debacle, where would we
start
find?
a church. We'd start a church.
Yeah, we would, our content would be at church. That's from
Shouting on the corner about salvation.
3 pounds of butter said that, and I think that I have a call with Twitch today, and we were just saying earlier. I think that Twitch is in the best position.
Yeah, and I think Twitch has been gradually and very smartly preparing for this eventuality. As soon as they started doing Bob Ross and Julia Child, they're doing
now.
Carl Sagan right now. They've been slowly but surely trying to expand beyond gaming. and they've done a decent job at it, and they're not rushing it, but it's clear that they want wide spectrum of content. Amazon, I'm sure this is coming from the top down, like they want a wide spectrum of user-generated content.
How cool would it be to watch like what's the new Top Gear called again? Something.
The tour.
Grand Tour. Eventually, and I think this is what is so cool about what they have, and we've learned this from Bob Ross and from Cosmos and they did Power Rangers. Is watching a show is great. Watching a show with other people makes it a different kind of viewing experience.
I don't know that I mean, it's funny to look at for a few minutes, but it's like,
I think it's super entertaining. Like,
and the chat moves so fast that it's just like, okay.
I would watch
fine.
like the premiere of a pretty big show on there with Twitch watching.
I wouldn't.
Well, so that was one of
the shows I actually like. I watch alone.
Yeah.
Even when people invite me over, like, oh, you want to watch Game of Thrones? No. Like,
No, you have a dog, and your dog will be barking.
Yeah, no, you're gonna keep your dumb girlfriend's gonna ask what's happening because she just started watching this season when you guys started dating. No. I'll watch it at home by myself.
Would it be better to watch, like, say you already watched this is just an example because it's not on Amazon or owned by Amazon, but if you had already watched the last season of South Park and they did, 6 months later, they were like, hey, we're gonna stream a new episode every night with the Twitch chat. Would you watch that?
No, but mainly just because the last season of South Park wasn't very good.
Yeah, well.
You got to be in the mood, and that's what I think it is. When it's a lean back, like prestige television thing, like I turn my fucking phone off.
Yeah.
Like, I don't answer the door. Like nothing. Like get out of here.
Yeah, I wouldn't watch it with like the finale of Breaking Bad or something.
No, like Better Call Saul's on. Like,
yeah.
Don't come near me. But if it's a movie or something that has some kitsch value, or like a Bob Ross that's like fun to watch with the internet, yes. But I think that when you look at people who are older or just not familiar with digital, like if I said I have a new show on Twitch, a lot of people I used to work with would be like, what's that?
Yeah. And
it's not that they're old, they still, if they work in TV or if they're just not savvy, they don't know what that is.
Well, that's the next step though, is getting past that that breaking point for typical, like, because
the everyday the everyday person. It's like, oh, it's on Twitch.
But that was the idea I had for whenever we can make a transition-ish, because we're not going to ever stop doing YouTube, I don't think, but I think we're going to start putting stuff on.
No, you have to threaten to leave.
But
and then people will send you money in the mail.
On Twitch to be able to have our content available there if you want to go there and watch it. But one of the ideas I had was, because Weekly Weird is like a 30-minute show, is basically streaming it. The first time we do it is streaming it live. We've already recorded it and it's edited, but we stream it as if it's live so that we can sit in the chat and hang out with people and like make fun of whatever story we're talking about or watch what people say about these certain stories, and then automatically that just gets uploaded.
Yeah,
anyway.
I like that idea.
So that would be cool, and it'd be a great way to interact with people in a way that hasn't been done before on YouTube. Like if someone's doing, like if you guys did a sketch and put it up and you were able to chat through the whole thing, and then like maybe you're like, hey, we're gonna replay this once a day for this week, and then we can come hang out and like ask how we did stuff or whatever, and then maybe go live afterwards, like as behind the scenes of it. I think there's a lot of, it's more interactive with the community than YouTube, because like the whole meme is that the YouTube comments are already cancerous anyway.
Yep.
So I don't spend a whole lot of time in there. Like I do when the video goes up and if I'm having a conversation with someone, but most of the time it's like I don't want to see anyone in there like telling me to fucking kill myself. So it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to leave. But yeah, no, I think there's a lot of opportunity there, and I think it'll be interesting to see what we can do with it. So
it creates competition. That's the thing. I'm always, again, Tech Tuesday, I always like competition. And if YouTube, like, watch the throne, because there's a lot of services now that aren't just these also ran meta cafes and these weird tertiary stuff. That Vimeo, that like someone sends you a Vimeo link, you're like, all right, what is it, a short film? But Twitch is in a position to really be able to take some of that market share away.
Yeah.
So go take your allowance and buy some stock in Amazon. Oh, never mind. It's $1,000.
Yeah, it's a very expensive company. Let's see. Joe Fitzpatrick.
Oh, sounds like
a
a real asshole. Sounds like one of those New York jerks.
Yeah.
Hey,
he's
the pizza
our,
pie man.
He's our friend.
Yeah.
Joe Fitz asks, about how many pages is a script for one of the episodes? How long's Weekly Weird?
Single
That's probably the
space,
longest.
12-point font. Weekly Weird comes out to like 5 or 6 pages usually.
Yeah. The
Generally speaking.
best example I can give is we just did the YouTube Apocalypse one yesterday. We're filming this Wednesday. That one was 5 pages. 5 pages is about 20, 25 minutes.
I think YouTube was like 15 minutes. I was sitting watching that one.
Okay, so yeah, after edited down. Sorry.
Yeah, after it's cut.
I keep trying to like come up with so like in Hollywood script formatting, you can generally like it's done in a way where if a script is 90 pages, you can pretty safely assume that the movie's 90 minutes long just by the way it's formatted. But we don't do it that way. Our stuff's a lot more dense. So
it's like a book report.
I keep trying to like come up with like an equation for how long a page of our scripts, because like I'll be writing, I'm like, I don't know if this is long enough, and then we'll film it and be like a half an hour and be like, yeah, it was long enough. What was I panicking about?
We'll interject things into it too. But I think I would say it's fair to say that 5 pages is, if we just did the script, 5 pages is 15 minutes.
Yeah,
it makes
sense. If
sense.
we just did the script.
Yeah,
Typically for my segments, they're roughly 1 page, and I feel like I'm up there for 3-4 minutes.
Yeah. So that's that.
So there you go.
Imagine writing a 5-page book report twice a day.
Yeah.
That's us.
And
And then
just
doing
on your
everything else
own.
on the side. Buy our merch, damn it.
Buy our male vitality pills.
etcmerch.com.
We should start selling supplements.
Yeah.
But it's literally just sugar water.
Yeah.
Beta male brain.
Yeah.
Can I sell that?
Beta male brain.
brain.
Uncuck yourself.
No, cuck yourself.
Whoa, hold on. Yeah, Elliot's not here, so oh well. Before we get into the second half of this podcast, we get to take a break and thank this week's sponsoring advertiser, and we are very happy to have Sherry's Berries sponsoring this episode once again. Moms are great. They gave birth to you. You definitely owe them big time. Well, Mother's Day is coming up, and Sherry's Berries is offering huge, freshly dipped strawberries starting at $19.99 plus shipping. Sherry's Berries are huge, sweet, juicy, and covered in decadent toppings from chocolate chips and chopped nuts to white milk and dark chocolatey goodness. It's an unexpected gift that will put a smile on any mom's face. And right now, you can double the berries for just $10 more. Just pick your delivery date and your berries are guaranteed to arrive fresh and delicious or your money back. Here's how to get this deal for berries starting at just $19.99. Visit berries.com, click on the microphone at the top right corner, and use code ETC. That is berries, BERRIES.com. Use code ETC when you click on that mic. You're going to get some great berries this deal. It won't last long though. Mother's Day is right around the corner anyway, so be sure to order now. You help us, you help your mom, you help yourself. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be great. Let's talk about other things. Miss Myra.
A woman
Yeah,
woman watches our show?
the 7%. I'm about to go off to college. Any advice?
Well, it's too late for the best piece of advice. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
No. I hope you chose a place that you, with your limited young mind and ability to know your own future, isn't going to cost you insane amounts of money for the next 30 years of your life.
Yeah.
That's what I did. And it's hard to justify whether it was worth it. I don't think it was. But, yeah, I don't know. Don't have fun, but don't have too much fun, I'd say.
Well, it's a lot harder
like,
with the phones everywhere and the tweets.
Well,
Internet,
for me,
TV.
it was like the fact that I had like all this freedom now. It was very easy to like get into a sort of routine where it's just like I'd sleep during the day and stay up all night.
Yeah.
And like that was fun, but it was like a really bad habit to like get into.
I think you know who does it right? The Amish.
Rumspringa.
Everybody needs Rumspringa. You need
to
to
go
take
out.
a year off when you turn 18.
They call that a
Stop
gap
churning
year
butter.
everywhere else.
Yeah.
Even the Obama twins are doing it.
You take a year off and you just become a lazy piece of shit. You make all your mistakes.
Yeah.
You get it out of your system, because going straight from high school into college, where like high school's a fucking joke compared to it. Like you're paying money, you have to be serious about it. You have to get
It's way more freedom and way more responsibility simultaneously, which is a terrible fucking mix.
yeah, and in some cases working a lot harder than you would be in the actual
Oh, yeah.
in your career.
Yeah.
So it's a lot at once, and you're an emotional fucking mess because you're still
Yeah,
a kid,
yeah.
and you're probably like dating people, and that's weighing on you a whole bunch, and you're finally getting to like drink and smoke weed, and that's ruining
There's
everything.
a lot of temptation there to,
Yeah.
to,
It was,
to draw
like,
you away.
like my college, like the freshman turnover rate was so like bad. Like so many people.
I think they were all
especially
still
like
there, but
upper,
they were just fatter.
No, like a lot of like, especially like upper class and upper middle class kids who
Oh,
like
yeah.
had the freedom to just like
I don't need
fuck
this.
around. Yeah, they would go for a year, like never go to class, just be high and drunk all the time, and then their parents would figure it out at the end of the year and be like, "Oh, we just blew $25,000.
waste.
You're coming back home and
Yeah.
going to community college."
and if you're
Yeah.
still in, you're like, where'd Rob go? Like, oh man, he's flunked out.
We
And I'm
had
like-
a kid-
and I'm like, shit, Rob had a car. That sucks.
Yeah.
We had this kid from Nigeria who like he was pretty rich for Nigeria, but like all the like just an incredible opportunity to come to the United States and like get a computer science degree from an American university and like make his whole family and country proud. And he just fucking blew it, and like his family's just like, all right, well, you're coming back to
Coming
Nigeria.
home.
Sorry, kid.
That's a bummer. I mean, my advice would be yourself, because there's only so many like resets you get in life when you get to go somewhere. And again, unless you are going to a college where you know a lot of the people, that there is any of that's bullshit baggage from high school or what you thought you had to be. It's when you go to college, when you move to a new city, or when you start a new job. Those are the moments when you get to kind of come in and pick who you want to be, and don't pick some fucking cartoon version or someone you think you see that on TV that's cool. Like, just be yourself. And
Yeah.
because then the earlier in life that you are comfortable with who you really are, and not just, I'm not saying like let yourself go, but like, you know who you are, be that. And when you can do that and you're not trying to impress other people and you're not trying to do shit for your parents and do shit for your
Make all
peers.
your mistakes in high school, not college.
Well, plus, like, yeah, all the just because of like the strength of numbers, you're more likely to meet people that have like similar interests to you. Like, I mean, yeah, there's just you're not in a fucking class of 30 people or whatever anymore. There's thousands of people around, and yeah, pretty much everyone's in the same position as you, where they don't really know anyone. So, yeah, go get them.
Go get them
Get 'em,
Go
kid.
get him, kid.
Have fun in college, but don't have too
But not
much fun.
Yeah.
fun. There you go. There's the asterisk.
One puff is all it takes.
And then you're just melted into the couch.
Yeah.
You
dripping
flunked
off
out
the
what
edge.
happened. I did 3 marijuanas and I'm done.
Yeah.
Good puts.
At J.K.A. Nicholson, probably not Jack Nicholson. I doubt he's on Twitter. He's 80 now, by the way.
I think he's got dementia.
How do I stop being a lazy ass?
You lazy ass.
Lazy ass?
I don't know. That's hard for me. Routine
Yes.
is a huge thing that I need to have in my life.
A
And
rolling
if I
stone
don't,
gathers no moss.
Yeah, if I don't have a pretty strict routine in my life, I become a lazy ass. A lot of that comes from the easiest way is find a job that demands a lot of your time and attention, and you will no longer feel lazy. You'll feel overworked instead.
Yeah.
That's the best solution.
Which actually, at the end of the day, is like, at least you're like, well, at least I did something.
Yeah, and then you have the freedom to be lazy and be like, you know what? I earned
I
this.
earned this.
Yes. Nothing beats like when at the end of a week, when you want to have some beers, you're like, I earned these. And you're
Yeah.
sleeping, you're like, because I was so busy all week. And again, I worked a lot of freelance, and what's tough about that is it's go for 2 months, and then it's like, guess what, motherfucker, you're unemployed. And then it's
Yeah.
like, you work for a month, you're down for 6 months. And in those times,
Yeah.
it's very easy to become a lazy ass. So what you-
I do not miss that
No.
freelance period of my life
No.
at all. I know a lot of people who do it very well. They thrive on it. Not me. It made me a bad person.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, oh, well, I should probably, work on my resume, work on my reel, blah, 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 blah. But first, I'm just going to smoke some weed
every day.
yeah.
And
Like,
then-
oh, shit. Well, now I can't do any of those things.
Let me
I was supposed to
organize
do.
my ROM collection. Like you find this kind of busy work, but it's like if you
You're not
can-
really doing anything.
You're not
Yeah.
really doing anything.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you didn't add any money to your bank account and you just spent it on whatever. So if you can find ways to do tangible things, whether they're creative things, whether it's volunteer, whether it's help out.
Volunteer work. Like, I wish that's something I had been more exposed to as a possibility, like during the lazy times. Because now, like there's a really good volunteer organization near where I live, and I was like, oh, I would actually love to like work with them. They clean up the neighborhood, like they do great shit. I just don't have the fucking time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But like if I was just bored off my ass, I'd be like, yeah. At least you have something to do. At least you're responsible to other people now.
The biggest thing I can I can say about it is having to not be lazy is to have the very, very minimal amount of motivation to just leave the house.
Yes.
Just leave the house, get away. If you have to write something, if you have to do anything on your computer, if you have to answer emails, if you're hustling to try to get work or anything like that, leave the house and go
to Starbucks.
Even if you have to go
That's why
even if you
it's
have
such
to go
a
to
cliche.
Starbucks.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
so for $4 or whatever, you can buy 6 hours of escrow and free Wi-Fi and fuck around, and it's like at least you're out, and it's like because then you have to look presentable. You can't come out in your stained sweats.
Yeah.
Like, it makes you shower. It makes you do stuff. It makes you not look at porno in public. You know, so
Yeah.
there's a lot of things when you're like, oh, that kind of sucks. It's like be a person, be part of society.
Yeah. Go out and mingle around and just be outside, and that helps. But also, to your point, is like the perfect example that I have recently is every fucking time we go on a trip or something, it is the hardest thing to go back to the gym and start going to the gym again.
Oh God!
Like I'll take if we're out of town for a week, first of all I'll try for like the first 2 days, and then I'm just like, this sucks. I'm uncomfortable. I'm busy all day. I don't want to go to even the gym at the hotel. Then I come back and I'm just like, I'm already a fucking lazy piece of shit. I don't want to go. Like, and it takes me a week to get back. And then once I'm back in the habit of doing it, that first day is so hard to just be like, you have to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like last night, I got back from Coachella and I was like, I have to go to the gym tonight because if I don't go tonight, I'm not going to fucking go tomorrow night.
Your routine is fucked.
But once I go, it's no problem to keep going. And that's just like anything else. It's like if you build a routine in your life, like I'm going to come into work at this time every day. I'm going to work until this. Then I'm going to go do this. Then I'm going to cook dinner. Then I can do whatever the fuck I want. That's the best is when I sit down at like 8:30 or 9 and it's like I can play video games till whenever I want or watch whatever I want and not feel bad because I've done all of this today.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's easy to ride a train. It's easy to derail a train.
Yes.
It's hard to pick up a derailed train and put it back on the tracks.
Yes.
Yeah. Because whatever it is you're trying to do, find a job, save money, get in shape. Like it's much easier to go to the gym twice a week and maintain your weight than it is to try to lose 30 pounds.
Yeah.
It's much easier to put away $10 a week. You know, like whatever it is you're trying to accomplish in life, if you can just do a little bit and not be a lazy ass, because it sucks because you look up and it's this fucking giant mountain and you're like, oh, well, this sucks, and it's so daunting that you're not going to do it. And again, whatever it is that you're trying to do in your life.
Go for a walk.
Yeah.
Even if you're like, I mean, even when I lived in suburbia in Florida.
You're from suburbia, Florida?
Yeah.
Oh, I love suburbia, Florida.
Very nice.
The nearest like convenience store was probably a 10 or 15 minute walk, but you just go. Then you've killed a half hour, but you've been out in the sun. You've got your vitamin D.
And you got your
your
steps,
legs
you're
working.
working on your 10,000 steps.
The beer that you went and bought, although I wasn't drinking back then, but say you go buy a
burn
beer.
one or two off.
Yeah.
I go buy a Royal Crown Cola. I've worked off at least half
Royal
that
Crown.
sip.
And if you need to
The
do
working man's cola.
my life hack for doing chores that you don't want to do, play really loud, aggressive techno music. You'll feel like
techno Viking? Like, are you?
Yeah,
is it,
just like run Lola run shit. You'll feel like you're like accomplishing something.
I still have
Matrixing.
such a problem with that. That's another thing though is once you push the snowball down the hill, it just keeps rolling. Like when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do the floors.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, that thing over there looks like shit though too. I'm already doing this. Let me just also clean the stove. It's like once it's going, it's like, you know what? Fuck it. This is taking 5 minutes at a time. I can do the rest of it. It's
I
not a
mean,
big
with
deal.
the stove,
Yeah.
it's like, so what if there's a little bit of pizza ash in there? It adds to the flavor of everything else you put in.
yeah.
goes,
Or
"Hey,
call a
this chicken
housekeeper.
tastes like pizza. You're like, supposed to.
Yeah.
Supposed to.
It's smoked.
Here's a personal one from @FrozTBoy. Did Ricky succeed in getting his trap phone stolen?
Oh, thank you.
No, I did not. No, I did
Wow.
not. It did not get
What a
stolen.
bummer.
And so I
Because they thought you were a cop.
that's the thing is I'm old enough now and I still like to dress like I'm going to a
Like a
music
cop.
festival. People probably think I'm a cop anyway. But the last night there, I think I looked the least like a cop and I was in the most precarious situations where it could have gotten stolen. I was in like the big crowd for Justice. I was in the big crowd for Kendrick Lamar. I was up in the shit for like Hans Zimmer and stuff. And I had my real phone like strapped to my front in my like Camelback and had it, like the loosest just hanging out, and I still didn't get it stolen. I was trying to give it to a friend's coworker who was a small girl that was just going to go to the rave tent all weekend. Couldn't meet up because she was busy raving. No, so it's just, saving it until next year. But they seem to be doing a better job at it anyway. They caught another guy this week, a group of 5 people working together this past weekend. And they got 50 phones out of them.
Yeah, that guy from the first weekend with 100 phones, like, I have to believe
he took the fall.
Yeah, he's not going to snitch on, because, like, 100 phones. No one person is just like, you'd have to be really on your game. Like, the man's the best thief in the world if he managed to do that by himself. But it's more likely that he was standing outside the crowd and his friends would grab the phone and then pass it to him, and then they would keep walking and be like, what are you talking about? I don't have any
sense because you're stealing tracking devices.
It's
even
so
the most
bush
moronic.
Yeah, it's still like $50, $75 worth of parts in each of those.
But yeah, I mean, realistically, like, why? I mean, not to be a dick, but why aren't you stealing fucking wallets?
I think
because a lot of people don't have cash. Like, that's even worse. Like, so many fucking people.
Yeah, but none of those people I'm telling you, not once did I get ID'd for using my credit card at any of the beer areas or merch table or anything.
Yeah, I guess. But, like,
There's
just
cameras
steal people's wallets to get a few free beers? Like, seems like a lot of risk for not a lot of reward.
Well, so is stealing a phone that has literally can be tracked anywhere.
Yeah, I guess.
That's a riddle that you're stealing someone's phone and you're not forward thinking enough to just shut the fucking thing off.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the music festivals, Chuck D.
What?
At Hey Pay Attention. What is your biggest pet peeve when it comes to music festivals? And he spelled festivals FRST.
Festivals.
IVALS.
Festivals?
Yeah.
Are you Dr. Steve Brule? This week we're going to talk about festivals. Biggest pet peeve about festivals? Lines. I hate lines.
Getting in is the worst.
Yeah, getting in is pretty shitty, but you can usually manage to figure out a way to do that at a time of day where it doesn't suck. But like at FYF Fest last year,
that sucked.
I missed all of who's the British girl? She raps and does electronic stuff and
Lady Sovereign?
No, well, I apparently she wasn't that important to me because I can't remember her name. But I missed like her entire set.
Wait, Grimes?
Grimes, yeah.
Grimes was great.
Yeah, well, I heard her in the distance.
He doesn't know.
I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get a beer before Grimes, and I was in line for 45 minutes.
Yeah,
it just didn't move. They had one guy at 2 registers, and the least they could have done is be like, hey, this is probably not the line to get into. But no, they didn't. And it was like a consistent problem throughout the weekend at that festival. It was like the beer line sucked. This is a California-specific problem, too. I've been to festivals in other states, and like California has really restrictive like beer tent rules, and it basically just corrals people into a space that's not big enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, yeah, other than that, waiting in line for beer, not being able to drink beer in a crowd, because there might be children, and then trying to leave at the end of it all.
Yeah, leaving sucks.
Leaving is it's a real pain in the ass. Even if you didn't drive, like,
in LA it's great because you can just take the train or take an Uber or whatever.
Yeah, well, even taking like an Uber out of an LA festival, you have to walk like a mile away to get out of like the extreme surge zone.
After Run the Jewels, I sat in McDonald's for a half hour.
Yeah.
Fast food to let people go, then went out and got one immediately.
Yeah.
So.
I'll always do the if it's crazy surge. Speaking of like downtown, in the downtown area. Sorry about the local story, but like at the Shrine or at FYF, I take the surge car like 2 miles and get out.
Oh, and you get out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
get out.
smart.
No, go to a bar. Like I'll go to like $7,000 downtown.
Got him.
Get out, have a drink on the money that I would have saved taking it home, and then take an actual Uber for the rest of the way.
Wow.
Life hacks.
Yeah, that is a life hack.
But yeah, no, getting in and getting out is the absolute worst. Once I'm in, there's always when you go to a festival, I've never been to one where you don't find some beer garden that is less bad than the rest of them.
The Oasis. You're like,
yeah. At Coachella, it's the craft beer barn because it's a bit more expensive. Mm-hmm. So it's a nice little oasis. But yeah, that's the hardest part. The other worst thing, the biggest pet peeve I have once you're actually in the festival is you gotta explain to your friends that you go with that it's
We're not doing
about,
this whole thing together the entire fucking weekend.
and I'm not gonna fucking sit here and wait for you to meet up with someone or go to a meeting point and
Yeah.
do this and do that because you are burning minutes at a time. You're burning entire songs that you want to see.
All right, we're meeting by the red tent. Oh, wait, I thought you meant the other red tent. I'll be right there. Wait.
You're dead to me at that point.
Yeah, and the
wash my
cell service
hands.
sucks. It's if you're not like
time stamping the text like 11:59. We're at the tower.
yeah, I mean the way I do it is like if I have a handful of friends at this thing, before we even start the day, we'll be like, okay, what are you planning on looking at? Okay, if something lines up there, like all right, I'll text you when I'm heading over to that one. See where you are. We
Yeah.
can try to meet up. But like, no, you got to understand. People have different tastes. People have different. Not everyone's going to want to do the same thing. That's the good thing about festivals is you have
get to
choice.
see whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah. So just don't bother with that shit.
My tip is when you go in, if you're gonna go with friends, you look at the schedule, you figure out what you have to see.
Yeah.
And then you compare it, and you're like, okay, well, are we gonna meet at this? That's fine. After the first day, you find a spot, and this is something that you'll do when you get older. Is you'll find yourself getting further and further away from the stage as you get older because it's like I'm not gonna fight my way in there, my way in there for one or two acts.
Sound booth is
Yeah.
the best place for sound. Why do you think they put the sound guy there?
There's a sound booth in the middle for people that don't know about
Stand
music.
right next to it. Yeah.
Stand on either side of that.
It's a great landmark, and the sound is literally going to sound better right there than it will
Anywhere
at any
else.
point in the crowd.
Find a point near that. Usually there's speaker stacks with logos on them. Be like, I'll be there. The other thing is never, ever, ever go to the most obvious spot. This weekend, there was a giant art installation in the middle of the festival, and so many people were like, we're meeting at the disco ball shiny thing. And I'm like, cool. There's
Good
going to
luck.
be 50,000 people coming from the Sahara tent to the main stage, and where do you think every single person is going to tell? I'm like, meet me at the worst food stand on the farthest side of the fest, and that's where I'll be.
Oh, you're going to be at Diarrhea's? Okay,
Yeah,
I'll meet you at
I'm gonna be
Diarrhea's too.
I'm going to be at the fry stand where it looks like someone shit all over them, and you'll meet me there, and then
It'll
we'll
be
walk.
empty.
Yeah,
You know what I'm pissed about is you brought up cell service.
Yeah.
And
it's getting better. Every fest, it's getting
it's
better.
getting better. I'm really surprised they're not doing more with like the mesh network apps, i.e., if anyone doesn't know, it's things where you don't need cell service. It uses everybody's phone in some combination of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. It's like decentralized. Think of it as like a torrent.
Sounds like a data mining
Yeah,
scheme.
but essentially, like if I want to,
Yes.
if I want to message Elliot, who's 100 feet to my left, but it's all people, it can bounce between everybody's. It can use everyone else's cell phone, and you don't need AT&T, T-Mobile,
Kind of like
Verizon,
what Batman
Sprint.
does in The Dark Knight to find the Joker.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
because that type of shit could. I know that they were talking about it for like natural disasters and earthquakes and stuff
Yeah.
in areas when that goes down, but. I'm really surprised. I don't know if it's a privacy thing, but if everybody had it anywhere at sporting events, at whatever, you can just text like, "Hey man, gotta run, or I'll be here."
Yeah, I
And
mean, it might
could-
be an encryption privacy thing.
There were some problems this past weekend, but very minimal. It has gotten so much better than it has been in the past. Even every year, it gets so much better every year because so many people complain. And it's another good thing about competition is at these festivals, like specifically Coachella, T-Mobile sponsored it, and my T-Mobile service was fine the entire weekend. And it's like the thing is like, AT&T and these other companies, they'll still put their towers nearby, their repeating towers to like boost the signal. They'll still put it there because they don't want to be the ones that are being called out on social
Yeah.
media.
Oh, Ricky's on
and-
AT&T. He's like that's what happens. You become the pariah of the group if
Yeah.
you're on whatever blank carrier that happens to
Yeah.
have shitty service there.
Exactly. So it's another thing that competition is helping to solve. But also this year they had free Wi-Fi.
Oh, yeah?
Did
it actually work?
Yes, and it was sponsored by
Wow.
Netflix, and it was free Wi-Fi. I'm sure that they like downloaded every Google search I've ever made, but it was free Wi-Fi, and it was at all of the beer gardens and water stations and everything. They had repeaters there, so it was actually, and food stands. So it was actually very, very convenient. If you absolutely needed to do something, you'd go there and use the Wi-Fi. Because it's also beneficial to those companies too, to be able to, they want people to share on Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter that they're there. They want pictures. It's free advertising for them. So they get, a lot of the festivals will give out free Wi-Fi anyway. I haven't been to EDC in 2 years, but even 2 years ago or 3 years ago when I went, they had EDC Wi-Fi that was sponsored, I think, by Snapchat, so you could send images that way because it's just the money that they spend on putting that infrastructure
it's
in is paying itself
advertising.
back on advertising.
Exactly.
I just remembered my biggest festival pet peeve.
Toilets?
No, actually, a lot of them do that pretty well. But no, don't go to any festival that Morrissey's playing at because he'll make them ban meat sales from the entire festival.
And then he'll just not
and then
show
he's
up
like, he's not even like. You're like, oh yeah, Morrissey from that great band, the Smiths. This is gonna be great. And then he doesn't play any fucking Smith songs. He just plays his bullshit Morrissey solo shit. And then he's like,
America.
yeah, oh, congratulations on
hamburger.
electing your president, America. Like, bitch, you lived in L.A. for 20 years.
Yeah, he played that OC Fest a month ago and played 3 songs and left.
Yeah, and then he got God, Morrissey's such a cunt.
It
I
used
love
to be
his
the same
voice,
thing with,
but
used to be the same thing with Frank Ocean. He would like, yep, we got a headliner. Frank Ocean's gonna headline and then just not show up.
oh yeah, but we got Kanye West out of that one year,
Yeah.
so that was pretty cool.
It was like Beyonce this year. I thought Lady Gaga did a great job. I probably wouldn't have enjoyed Beyonce as much.
But yeah, Morrissey, fuck you. People, if you can't stand the fact that people are eating meat within a mile radius of you, you shouldn't be performing music.
Yeah. Well,
Wrong
all right.
city.
There's your summer festival tips. From
Yeah, avoid Morrissey at all costs.
Old
Not worth
ETC guys. Thanks for joining us, guest.
Thank you. I will be guest. If I can plug, we do have
Absolutely not. No.
we do have a new YouTube channel coming out. It should be launching on Wednesday. Shibby. It's called Action Figures. It's
God
me,
mode.
Me and Nick Gregorio. Just youtube.com/actionfigures. It's spelled exactly how
What?
you think it is.
How did you lock that down?
There you go. I don't know. It's there. So if you like me, if you like Nick, if you care about comics at all, if you want like DC movies, Marvel movies, anything remotely comics, definitely check it out.
What kind of content we looking at
slash. So Nick is a super comics genius, so he's going to be breaking stuff down like every Wednesday. Like these are the comics that came out. We're going to be looking at new stuff, old stuff to check out before the movies. I have a segment a show called Nitpicker where I basically take books and tear them apart about like the terrible art or the storyline. And just basically the angry Phil you see
you're
on that.
taking your disgruntled Phil.
Yeah,
into
yeah.
A new,
I point that gun
ways.
at comics and have a lot of fun with it. It's pretty fun and funny. So youtube.com/actionfigures. Go subscribe. It's brand new. There's no content up yet, and you're gonna be like, really? You guys have 3 subscribers? Yeah, because we didn't launch yet. But I'd really appreciate it if you guys came out and checked it out. It should be fun.
Great.
You guys sound stoked. You got too much.
I'm just still blown away how you got that URL.
Yeah.
And then we have another one coming up, but that's.
Are you
tell
gonna
you
have
about that one
are
later.
you gonna do videos where you dress up like superheroes and rape babies and shit like they do on those kids channels?
I'll plead the fifth, but no.
Okay, good, because that stuff's like pretty weird and
Terrifying.
controversial.
Yeah.
No, we'll be shooting this stuff in this building. So if you see any toddlers wandering around, I'll know that they're yours.
All right, if I see a Princess Elsa costume, I'll
It
throw it
is-
in the trash.
Yeah, no cosplay, nothing weird like that. But I mean, we're just trying to do really cool stuff. Like another show is called Remasters, where we sit around. You guys are definitely welcome to come on if you're ever into it. But
Pass.
we take a property like something like Batman and Robin, which is a movie that's notoriously shit on.
A classic.
And like, how would you do it? And that would actually make it good.
More puns.
So like I would do this, I would do that, I would make it a sitcom. You could make it dark, and then what we're trying to explore is like if whatever people like the best that we did, we'll actually shoot.
Oh,
so whether
that's
it's a
cool.
sketch or whether it's like you want to see, something done as serious or dark or whatever. So and that's where kind of you'll see that more narrative stuff that you saw in the sketches that we used to do. So
Nice.
so yeah,
All right.
YouTube.com action figures. I'm done plugging. I hate plugs. People who promote things are terrible.
All right. Go do it. We'll put a link in the description.
I'd also like to plug youtube.com/actionfigures.
Oh.
It's this new channel that Phil and Nick are working on. Sounds like it's going to be pretty cool, so check it out.
Go to the search bar and type in ETC Party Time.
Oh, yeah, that too.
And
Always
go to
the best.
etcmerch.com and buy a shirt.
Always appreciate you
If
guys.
you the best tip for music festivals is we have a shirt for Party Time.
Oh, it's a great
It just
festival
says
shirt.
Party Time, so you don't even have to like the channel. You can just be down with
Yeah.
partying and then buy the shirt.
I feel like it's a really great logo, and if you don't know of you guys at all, it's
Yeah.
really fucking cool.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.